Hi Gemini, welcome to your October 2018 Tarology 33 reading. We have a Celtic cross spread in front of us. Normally a 10 card spread. You did get one extra card in the near future position, and you also got an extra oracle card, so there'll be some extra messages there. Let's get started with the cards one by one. Your first card in the main position is the 10 of Wands. So what this usually points to is taking on a heavy burden. As you can see, this person's holding on to 10 wands. It's not the most comfortable way to do so either. It doesn't even look like they could see exactly where they're going, right? They're just moving forward. You're not sure if they even know where their destination is. So that's the general vibe that we get with this. On the positive side, it can say that you'll have the strength and determination to carry through with something if that's really what you need or want to do. But a lot of times this could also point more to the negative side of taking on too much and risking burning yourself out, or even losing, again, like I said, what your actual destination would be, with him not being able to clearly see where he's going. Is he still on the right path, for example? It can be difficult to find out when you're looking at this card. We'll see how it plays out as we go along. In the challenge position, we have the High Priestess. So to me, this is saying that you really need to look at your intuition and try to rely on your intuition this month. And that certainly would go in line with, like we were saying, not even necessarily being able to see where your end goal is. Is this the right path for you or not? Can you see clearly? Do you know where your end destination is going to be and what that will do for you? Or are you just needlessly taking on all these things without any defined purpose to doing so? As mutable signs, I have some Gemini in my chart, so I could certainly speak on it. Sometimes we will take on too much, and that's how mutable energy is seen sometimes too, as scattered. There is no defined goal sometimes. Sometimes we'll try working on 10 different things at once, right? Instead of, all right, let me take these on one at a time. That could be an issue that we fall into at times, and if it's going well, great, but if it starts to hinder your progress, like it looks like his progress might be hindered here, then maybe you need to reevaluate that. See, is there a better way you could go about doing those things, or maybe let some of those things go and focus on the more important ones, right? That's what this card, to me, is saying in the challenge position, that you really need to rely on your intuition to figure out what path would be best for you. In the foundation position, we have the Empress card. So in some ways, this kind of goes in line with that as well, as far as I would say. This could be referring to the fact that you need to be more open and receptive, being in a state of receptivity rather than taking action, right? Or at least to combine those two. So going back to that 10 of Wands, rather than trying to take on so much, take a step back, maybe reevaluate. What can I do to get me into this state of receptivity, the Empress role? And maybe that's where your intuition would come into play in that regard. Another way to say it is to just embrace some of those higher feminine energies too, whether you're male or female. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing here. It's saying that instead of just pushing forward, maybe you can take a step back and really see what's the best way forward where you could get into this position. For some of you, this could mean that you're trying to birth a new creative project of some kind. That's certainly a possibility. But again, as we go forward, we'll see how it's all going to play out. In the past position, we have the Five of Wands. So to me, this doesn't represent conflict as much as, say, the Five of Swords would. To me, this more represents competition. So let's say that that's why you are in this 10 of Wands position. I'm getting a career vibe here or a life path vibe from this reading. So let's say that you are in a very competitive field. So you're under the impression that, hey, if I really, really work hard here, I'll receive recognition for that hard work and get to where I want to go, right? But if you look at him, how is there any way for him to stand apart, right? I mean, you can't even see the guy's face. So, okay, to me, the message with these cards here is saying that if that's your role, where you're in a very competitive field and you're having trouble getting ahead, the point is, well, maybe the hard work you're putting in isn't being appreciated, isn't being seen, because again, let's say this is your boss is on the other end of this. How is it going to tell you apart from anyone else doing all that work, right? Can't even see you. So that's what I see there. Or this could be, again, just taking on too many things, going back to that message. This is just saying that you need to let some of that go. But I'm really getting the vibe that some way, shape, or form, you're kind of hitting your head up against the wall with something, and you need to trust your intuition, be open to more receptivity, and see, okay, is this really the best way forward? Can I rethink this? So on and so forth. In the present position, we have the Page of Wands. So to me, a lot of times I see this as a message coming in from someone about a new action, but I see a little bit differently here. What I'm seeing with these other cards at play is I see this as you. So I see that eventually you will let some of these things go. Whether you just decide to go on a whole new path altogether, or realize, you know what, yeah, I am taking on way too much right now. Let me get rid of some of those things, right? You see the person here is 10 wands, like we were saying, they can't even see their way forward, where their destination is. You look at this person, think of the Page of Wands as you progress through the suit of wands. The page is the card after the 10, right? So either it's saying you complete that work, or you decide, you know what, I'm going to focus on one thing here. So with that, your vision would be more clear, right? You could see the way ahead clearly and focus and be able to move around more easily as well. So that's really what I'm getting there. That's not always what I would see looking at the page, but with all these wands cards here and the whole intuition receptivity thing, that's the vibe that I'm getting, is that you're either going to let some things go, or the work that you did put in, the competition will come to an end. You'll stand apart from that. But I'm really thinking it's more the latter, of you letting go of some things that aren't serving you and stop beating your head against the wall. Focus on what's important. That's what I'm getting there. In the near future position, we have two cards. We have the Six of Swords and the Star card. So the Star card is often referred to as the Wish card. It's also sometimes represented by Aquarius, excuse me. I don't think this is referring to an Aquarius though, even though this is also an Aquarius card. The way I'm seeing this more is that it's really talking about you pursuing something that would make you happy. Reason I say that, you have the Ten of Wands in the present position, moving in that direction. Like we said, I think that's also you there as the Page of Wands, and you look at the direction that the Six of Swords is moving in. They're also moving in that same direction, moving away from what's not serving them. So that's really the vibe that I'm getting from this. For some of you, it could even mean a job loss. Again, going back to moving from that Ten of Wands, because we have the Tower there. But I'll elaborate on that a little bit more once we get to the environment position. All right, and your influence on the situation, we have the Knight of Cups. So I'm not really getting much of a love or relationship vibe in this reading at all, but this could be saying that maybe you'll extend an offer to someone as far as a love offer would go. But to me, with all these cards on the table leading up to that position, to me this points more to you following something that you're passionate about. So like I said, whether it's you do lose a job, right? Maybe that's you're going to have Venus retrograde in October, and it's going to be in your 6th house. So that can point to the work area for you. So that's the case. We have the Death card at the bottom of the deck as well. So sometimes this could be saying that something that you really were working hard at can be taken from you. But the good thing is, in that moment, you're never going to feel that way, but it's usually for your own good in a situation like that. And that could be maybe the reset that you need, right? Maybe you've just been plugging away, putting in so much effort into this in a competitive field. You haven't been seeing a payoff for it. It gets taken away from you, which could be what the Tower card is talking about, and the Death card. And now you're free to pursue what would make you happy. You're free to move on from that and pursue your dream. Okay? So that could be what that is. But for the majority of you, put it this way. I think the saying is "let go or be dragged," something along those lines. That's the saying that I think of when I look at this, because with the Tower in the position of the environment, I could see that going one of two ways. Either you cause that Tower situation to come about by deciding, you know what, I'm going to drop some of these things and focus on what's important to me. I'm going to focus on what makes me happy. And the people who've been relying on you to do all those things for them now, this is the position they're in. You know, you bring about that um, Tower vibration into your environment by taking that action, by saying, you know what, I'm going to pursue what makes me happy. For others of you, if it is that it's something that's taken from you and the Tower is being exerted on you, keep in mind what I say about the Tower card is that, you know, to me, this represents the lightning bolt is usually a divine intervention. So if this tower was as stable and as sturdy as you thought it was, that lightning bolt wouldn't have caused that damage, right? So it wasn't as sturdy of a foundation as you thought. And it really could go either way there. If it's the death card too at the bottom of the deck, I have the feeling that this will be something that was long standing, you know, meaning something that you've been pursuing for a long time, or a job you've been with for a long time, for example, and finally deciding, okay, this isn't right for me. Um, for some of you, it could be just letting go of an idea too. You know, maybe you're thinking to yourself, these are the 10 things you need to be successful, right? Oh, if I do this, so on and so forth, I'll be successful. And you've held on to that belief for a long time, right? You've been beating your head up against the wall, not seeing the progress. And now finally something comes along that makes you realize, you know what? Maybe that isn't the right way to go about it. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to start over with a clear vision and move forward that way, which does seem like it would benefit you if you did that. So that's another possibility that's popping into my head as well. Trying to think if there's anything else I see. No, that's really what I'm feeling. I think that, you know, and let's say, since this is a cups card here, let's say it's a relationship, right? Maybe these are a bunch of requirements you felt like you had to have in your ideal partner, right? Oh, they have to make this much money, they have to be this tall, they have to, you know, drive this kind of car, they have to listen to this kind of music, whatever, you know, all of your quote unquote requirements. And that's what you've held on to all this time. Something comes along the way, whether it be an actual person that brings about this energy that makes you reconsider, you know, has this been correct all this time? Have those specific attributes I've been looking for in another person, are they really what's best for me? Do I really need them to have those things? Or, you know, have I possibly been overlooking people that are a good match for me? Like I said, I'd say 95% of you, this is more of a career and life path thing, but only because that's a cups card there, I would mention the possibility for it to be romance related. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Four of Swords in reverse. So to me, we'll take a look at it in the upright for a second. But to me, this again points to what I was saying as far as the Ten of Wands. I see them going hand in hand very well. Four of Swords being in reverse means that you feel like you can't take this rest. You know, I can't take the time off. Oh, I can't afford to do it. I can't afford to reset, right? I have to keep pushing forward. I have to keep carrying those 10 wands. That's your fear. Your fear is that you can't let some of those things go and focus on one thing, right? That's what I'm seeing there. And then in the outcome position, we have the Queen of Wands. So I see this going a few different ways. This is actually the Major Arcana card, excuse me, not Major Arcana, the Court card for Aries. So what I see here is that this is saying a few different things. If you look at that, in the present position, you are at the Page of Wands, you end up at the Queen of Wands, right? So to me, that shows progress. So by letting some of these things go and focusing more on one thing, moving towards something that you're passionate about, you will see the results of it. Another thing that this could be referring to is the fact that the ruler of Aries is Mars, and Mars is now going direct once again in your ninth house. So this could just be saying that you're starting something over in that area of life. You know, maybe you're trying to learn new skills, for example, because, okay, I've been plugging away at this job or whatever for so many years, and you decide, you know what, I want to pursue something I'm passionate about. So maybe you start that. Um, Aries is your 11th house. So that could be referring to hopes and wishes as well. That's what that house can represent, among other things. So this could just be saying that you finally start to pursue what makes you happy. You know, letting go of maybe a belief system or a certain way you've been doing things that hasn't been leading to success, moving away from that towards actual wish fulfillment and pursuing something that you're passionate about. All right, so like I said, we do have 2 oracle cards, so we'll take a look at those. We have Higher Power. There's the artwork for that, and it's number 4, if that has any significance for any of you. And the other card we got was Flexible. There's the artwork for that, and it's number 19. So maybe both messages resonate for you guys, or maybe it'll be one or the other. This message I'm fairly familiar with. I don't remember pulling Flexible often, if at all, so we'll see what that says. But as always, we'll look in the book for the messages anyway and see how they tie into the reading. So starting with Higher Power, it says essential meanings. Conscious contact with a higher power, the presence of the divine, seeing source energy in all things, committing to a partnership with spirit. Right away, you think of the High Priestess in that position there. The Oracle's message. This card reminds you that you are more than a person trying to get ahead and make things happen for yourself and others. You have an immortal soul and are gifted with a human life through which a higher power can express itself. At this time, you need to be conscious of your connection to spirit and foster it with prayer and meditation. Ask, what is the highest good for all? How can I serve? Then get out of your own way and trust that there is a plan for your life more wondrous than you can ever know. You are always protected and divinely directed. So, I mean, that couldn't talk more clearly about what we are seeing here, about the potentially, just being so set on, oh, I have to take on all of this, or I have to have success in this exact way, right? Those could be your beliefs on your path to success. These are the things I need to achieve to be successful. Letting some of that go, that could be what the High Priestess is saying there, trusting in spirit, being receptive, and letting things fall into place more naturally there. And just having faith. And again, that would go even for some of you if you did experience that tower energy. It always is going to suck in that moment, but those are the things you look back in hindsight and say, you know what? If this was what I thought it was, would this one thing really have completely knocked it off course or out of my life? Probably not, right? You even look at 1617. I see the star card as losing that ego. The tower can sometimes be ego. And when we think of ego, it has a very negative connotation, but sometimes it just means that you can mean well and still have ego in play. Meaning that, oh, I know this is what I need to do to get ahead, right? So you might not even be causing harm to anyone else around you other than yourself, but I know this is what I have to do. And oh no, I know this is the right path for me, right? And then sometimes these challenges will come along to say, okay, well, if you really think this is what's right for you, here's a challenge that we'll see if it withstands it. Okay, like I said, I didn't get much of a romantic vibe at all from this reading, but we'll look at the relationship message. It says, it's time to address how much effort you give to your relationship with your higher power, called God, Goddess, Spirit, or any other name that is sacred and holy. Recognize that your partnership with Spirit is your number one priority. The appearance of this card also indicates that there is a deep spiritual bond between you and another person who is essential to your growth and evolution. Tend to your spiritual connections and remain aware of your true nature. So, like I said, I don't necessarily see a whole lot of that in play, especially with the tower there, unless it's really maybe this was a sudden introduction to someone in your life recently, or maybe even coming up this month, that makes you rethink things, makes you think differently about your life and whatnot. That could be what that's referring to. But even if it's not a specific person, like it says, look at your relationship with Spirit. And the prosperity message says, sometimes your work just flows through you. Ideas come rushing in, and inspiration bubbles up from a wellspring you didn't even know you could access. When you enter agreements, begin projects, and negotiate deals with Spirit as your partner, you will always succeed. Let your higher power lead. The synchronicities and intuitive nudges you feel will help you see which way you are being pointed, giving you confidence to move forward in the right direction. Don't forget, to give credit where it's due. You couldn't be a success without Spirit's guidance. Humility will serve you well when this symbol appears. So again, this could be referring to humility, right? Oh, I have 10 wands right now. Why would I go back down to 1, right? But it's saying, okay, well, were all 10 of those wands serving you? Or maybe is there one or a few that do serve you while the others are holding you back? Preventing you from seeing a clear path forward, preventing you from even remembering or knowing where your destination was, right? Making you uncomfortable. I mean, it looks like his back is hunched over, right? So, not the most ideal of circumstances. Whereas this person standing upright, you can see clearly, they look pretty comfortable. So, something to keep in mind there. And like we said here, in the fears position, you feeling like you can't rest. But look where it ends up, right? Queen of Wands. So, all right, and now we'll take a look at the other message for flexible. And before I even get to that message, that makes me think of what I was saying with the Ten of Wands too. If those are rigid beliefs you have of, oh, this is how I have to get from point A to point B, and now you find out, hey, there's a better way to do it. That could possibly be what it's saying. But let's look at the message. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with the card, so we'll read it. It says, teachability, open-mindedness, being adaptable without compromising what's most important. The Oracle's message. A tree's roots are solidly planted in the ground, yet its branches can bend in a hurricane, whereas a rigid structure, like a building, would come crashing down. Consider how the tree remains supple and secure when everything around it may be in shambles. This is how you need to be right now. Willing to learn new things, teachable, malleable, yet firmly grounded in who you are. Common sense is important, but so is an open mind. Stay curious, stay open, stay aware. At this time, others will be more flexible with you too. So, to me, that's what that's saying too. How much flexibility, how much range of motion, for example, do you have when you're carrying those 10 wands, right? You could be doing more harm than good carrying all that. Whereas if you let some of that go, focus on a few things or even just one specific thing, your path forward becomes easier, your ability to move becomes easier, your flexibility improves. All right. Like I said, didn't get much of a relationship vibe, but we'll read this message too. It says, in every relationship, it's important to be open to new experiences and learning new things. Letting go of rigidity is what's required right now. You don't always have to be right all the time, do you? It's okay to come to a happy compromise. You can still get your needs met. It's a beautiful day when you meet halfway. The appearance of this card in a reading could also signal that you have met someone new who may not be your type, but who will turn out to be so special that you can easily release your old ideas about what sort of partner is right for you. Be flexible. You'll be happy you made that choice. So I did mention that as well, which is to say that if these are your 10 requirements, quote unquote, for what you need in a partner, maybe someone comes on that completely knocks all that off its axis, right? Oh, I never, I thought that I had to have all these things in a person, but here's someone different, comes along, and has you reconsidering that. Um, I wish I did see more that just pointed to relationships, but I'm sure for some of you that will relate. So, something to keep in mind there. And the prosperity message says even when you have a clear vision of how you're going to manifest something, what it will look like, who will share in it, and what will then be available to you, you still need to relax and open up to other possibilities. Spirit may have much better plans for you. It could be a job you hadn't thought of, a new source of money, or some other opportunity that eluded your imagination. Be flexible and remind yourself, this or something better manifests for me now. Then be willing to bend a little. Enjoy the miraculous results. So that makes me think about what I said for those of you that maybe this could be a job loss. And that the only reason I thought of that, there wasn't anything that flat out told me, oh yeah, this looks like job loss. But combining the energies at play here with the fact that Venus will be moving retrograde through your sixth house, and you also have Jupiter in your sixth house, could mean something gets taken away with the Death card, the Tower, moving from 10 wands down to 1. Something gets taken away in order for something better for you to come along in its place. So that's what I'm getting, is that even if something is taken away from you, maybe not exactly by the end of this month, I mean, technically this is an October reading, but it looks like even if you feel like you're down here at the page position, you end up in the queen position. So something to keep in mind there. And either way, neither of these cards seem to be as burdened as this one is, so something to keep in mind if that were to happen. And again, also tying into the other message before, which is, hey, you think, oh, this is what I need to achieve, right? I need to work this type of career. I need to do it this way. I need to do it that way. Maybe a sudden insight comes to you. That could be what the Tower was referring to there. And it ends up leading to wish fulfillment. So just some things to keep in mind there. No other messages are coming into my mind right now, so we'll wrap up there. I will be offering private readings starting in October, so you could check out the about section of this channel for that. And we'll wrap up there. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.